So I see new Pokemon Snap has got an update with 3 new areas and some new Pokemon. That got me thinking, why doesn't Pikmin have a photo game? Pikmin has only had 2 spin-off games technically. One was Hey Pikmin, which was received mixed. And the other was a side mode in Nintendo Land called Pikmin Adventure, which, while fun, I don't think it was Pikmin. I had Pikmin enemies and and I had general Pikmin stuff, but it wasn't Pikmin. Also, I really think a photo game would work well for Pikmin. For example, in Pikmin 3, you have a camera, and you can use Go Here. If you want to play a sort of demo version of how this would work, which I should be showing on screen now, you should go to the map, use Go Here, and just open the camera. Boom, you've got a sort of Pikmin Snap type thing. Okay, what I imagined for this hypothetical game, there'll be 2 types of gameplay. One would be like the normal Pokemon Snap gameplay. You gotta take pictures to get how rare the pose is, how good the enemy looks, blah blah, how clear it is. And that'll get you different stuff. It's just normal Pokemon Snap, but with Pikmin enemies and Pikmin doing some cute things maybe. And I think it should also encompass all Pikmin enemies from 1, 2, 3, and Hey. I could see cameos from Adventure, but I don't know if they want to acknowledge Nintendo Land existed. They seem to have never acknowledged it after it released. Then again, they don't really want to acknowledge the Wii U. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I want to see, if you do something really specific, you can get a random Pikmin Adventure enemy to spawn, and they'll be like, whoa, that was cool. That's a cool, really deep cut. And some of the Pikmin Adventure enemies have never appeared in a Pikmin game. That's an interesting factoid. The second gameplay style is based on what I've heard from the Pikmin mobile game. So in the Pikmin mobile game, you go out, you collect some stuff, and tell Pikmin to collect some stuff, and when you get back home, they send you postcards of oh, this is what they did. That's really cool, isn't it? And it looks cute, right? The second gameplay style would be based on that. So you send your Pikmin. I would say when you take pictures of Pikmin, you technically just gain them in your onion type area. Let's go with that. So if you take a picture of them, it's oh, you got 6 Pikmin that joined you on your mission or something. But you would get those Pikmin to just go on their own little expedition. I don't know how they wouldn't be eaten, but let's just assume they're invincible. They have a little capsule around them. Once you've done that, you just use the caps. You just get them to take pictures, and they'll just go oh, here's some postcards back while you've been doing some other expeditions. Ooh, look at these cool photos. This should be what you're generally aiming for, because they take really good photos. Or depending on what type of Pikmin they are, I could see different angles. So if you're using winged, you get a high angle of the enemy. If you're using purples, you would be you would see a enemy from you'd see an enemy stunned in place somehow. If you're using whites, it might be a bit more blurry because of the speed, but they would take more pictures, but they'd be slightly blurry. Blue Pikmin obviously would get underwater pictures, which would be really nice to see. I would like to see underwater Pikmins in this game where you don't have to use the Pikmin. Reds, obviously, I'd see yellows would be higher. It would be high place, but not as high, and they might have a cliff edge, and also it might be brighter because of maybe they're in a cave and they've lit a light bulb, and it's just a bit brighter in that area. Where if you send a red, it would be darker, as well as reds would just be the most neutral shot you can get. You could get with reds, you could just get okay, this is the basic shot. Yellows would be high up or in a light or a lighter shot. Maybe they can maybe the camera has flash, but only yellow Pikmin can use the flash. Blues would be underwater. Winged would be high up, and you could just get really good high angles. Whites, I'd say, would be a bit blurry, but you get more pictures for your expedition. Purples, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they're slower, so maybe they have like better looking pictures, but they only get like 1 or 2, but they're really good pictures. Playing into their strength thing. And rocks, I have very little clue what could do. I could see them like, I don't know, rocks. I could see rocks camouflaging very well. So like if you're in like a rocky area, I could see them like have less attention giving to the enemy. That's just a spitball idea. That wouldn't make sense with the Pikmin series, but since they are a rock, I think it would do well to like, oh, these guys blend in very well, so the subject doesn't really focus on them. So you get like more rare actions and compared to the other Pikmin, which can be noticed more easily. Well, I've gone way too much into this auto thing. But you don't obviously go on these expeditions. But I want a feature. Also, once you've like, say you've done basically everything in the main game, you've become the best Pikmin photographer ever, or something, right? So what I'm seeing is you get the Pikmin, and you're allowed to become the Pikmin. So you're allowed to like control the Pikmin, get them like into the correct shot angle, get like the best shot you can get, and you can go like switch between Pikmin, and you get to see it from a tinier perspective and be like a general photographer. Because I'd say the original mode would just be, okay, it's on rails. With the auto Pikmin mode, they're allowed to like explore the map more or less. So like to go up, down, anywhere, but it's like, but you have like a time limit. So it plays into that natural Pikmin nature. So you got like 5 minutes to take as many photos as possible, or as many good photos as possible. Obviously, if you're playing as a white Pikmin, you'd be faster. If you're playing as a blue Pikmin, you got some water shots to get, which would look really nice. Or if you're playing wings, you can get some high shots. It's just like playing into your general niceness. Obviously, the more varieties of Pikmin you have that's in the expedition, I'd say you're allowed to spend 10 or 15. I'd say 15, and then you're allowed to switch between them. And the more Pikmin you have, the more Pikmin you have, the more film reel you have. I don't know how that correlates, but that makes sense to me. I think this game the game's story should be the Pikmin researcher that apparently explored the planet between Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2. Because when Olimar, in the Piklopedia in Pikmin 2, they talk about groundbreaking new research, and those characters, whoever's been on PNF 404 since Olimar left but didn't come back, and they were gone for like 5 minutes, but apparently it was longer. But that person, I think you should play as them, whatever their name is, and they are the researcher who like, when you take a picture of them, they go like, oh, this and this. They do like a Piklopedia entry, but it's more based on how they act and how they move, and just like, oh, this one has a long tongue to grab stalking prey. I'm bad at freaking Piklopedia entries, I'm sorry. But they go like, oh, this just looking at this one looks like, oh, this and this. Oh, this Bulbob, from what we've seen of them, they act more like bread bugs, so they might be related to them in some way. Just to get more of a general idea of Pikmin lore, because Pikmin 1, 2, 3, and Hey, which are the only mainline Pikmin games that I think are canon. Pikmin 1 to 2 take place, like, every game is chronological, but I like the idea of going back in the timeline and just putting like, this photography game happened before Pikmin 2 happened. So you got like, you can just like, okay, this is where this research came from, this is where the Piklopedia entries came from, this is where Olimar has this groundbreaking new research that he talks about, stuff like that. Also Pikmin, I would say you would have a few areas, like the first area I think should be based on Awakening Wood from either Pikmin 1 or 2, I forget which one it is, because I've been talking about a lot of Pikmin recently, but Awakening Woods, that kind of area should be like the first one. So it's a really good first area, and you got like, okay, this this is like your general thing. And as you go down into the depths, you've got like the Forest Nasal, which is a very dark area. So you can go down there, and you just go down there, and it's dark, so you might have to bring a flash or something. If you're doing an auto expedition, you can just bring yellow Pikmin and tell them, okay, you got flash, you can see things better. Photos might become a little creepy there, depending how they shoot them. But I could also see you being allowed to bring your own type of Pikmin to You're allowed to bring you're allowed to bring like 5 Pikmin with you on your expedition. To like, okay, I need something to light up this certain area. The Pikmin go over there. Okay, this area's a bit more lit up. I can now get a good shot of these. And also you can use the Pikmin as distraction tools. Like if, say the enemy in this area is an electric enemy and only can do electric attacks, so you send some yellow Pikmin in there to like get them to focus on them without destroying your squad, let's say. I think it could be a really fun idea just to mix photo gameplay with Pikmin gameplay. I don't think you should be able to attack the creatures. I think you should only be able to distract them, like the apple things in Snap. I think you should be able to do that, and maybe add like super spicy spray. You can like spray to the enemies to make them like speed up. I don't think you should be able to use super bitter spray, but it's nice to get like super bitter spray should be reworked. Instead of turning them into a statue, just make them freeze for a bit, maybe. That's my idea anyway. I just think this game could be very relaxing in a sort of sense. I think just going through the Pikmin worlds, taking a few photos, having a nice time, just a good day it's just a good way to unwind, I'd say. I just think I'm just surprised no one else has talked about this that I've seen. I just think Pikmin Snap could just be a fun game to play, and I kind of want it now. That's my personal ideas. I could also see some other fun things coming from this, like Hey Pikmin's cute Pikmin interactions they had in every level. Just having like one of them, just like have like them in there randomly. Like you had a few of the same animations, but you could like take a picture and then go, whoa. I don't know who would be rating your pictures. Maybe like you're taking pictures for a biology study back on Hokate or Kopai, and you'd go, oh, this is pretty important. This is a brand new discovery. This enemy's behavior's never been documented. I also think there should be some new enemies, because like if they go like, oh, this is an undiscovered species. Whoa, look at you go. I think it'd be cool. That's all I really wanted to talk about.